Hi guys, it's Miss Mady coming to you with your SEL today. I wanted to share a book with you that I found a while back, and it is really good. And excuse my dog barking in the background; she wants to be a part of this. All right, this is called "What Were You Thinking?" And I'm going to slide over a little bit so I can show you, so you can see the book. Okay, it's a story about learning to control your impulses. He says, I'm hilarious. Hi, my name is Braden, and I'm in the third grade. Just so you know, I'm probably the funniest kid in my school. Seriously, I have made some kids cry and almost wet their pants because they were laughing so hard. Anyway, this school year started the same way it does every year. The teacher explains the rules. We practice the rules, and then we practice them some more. Don't teachers realize third graders know how to follow the rules? Well, on Friday, I realized why we practice the rules. My teacher began class by saying, Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to, and that's when it happened. I shouted out, Talk about how awesome I am. This is going to make everybody laugh. The class giggled, but my teacher, Mrs. Vickerman, said, Whoa, Braden, we have rules to follow in class. Is interrupting me when I'm talking to the class following the rules? No, I guess it isn't being respectful, I answered. Right. Remember, the first day of school, we talked about what those rules look like in class, and we said one way to show respect is to raise your hand if you have something to say and calmly wait for the teacher to call on you. That is one way we control our impulses. Control our what? I'm sorry, Miss Vickerman, but that sounds like grown up talk. Miss Vickerman smiled and said, They are big words, but what they mean is that sometimes our bodies are telling us to do things and we have to decide whether or not to do them. Later on, Mrs. Vickerman pulled me aside and she asked, When you shouted out, saying we were going to talk about how awesome you are, what were you thinking? Well, I thought it would be really funny. Right, but did that make the situation better or worse? I sat there for a second and then sighed and I said, Worse. Mrs. Vickerman explained that there are times to be funny and times to be serious at school. She asked me, When is it a good time to be funny at school? I don't know, maybe lunch, recess, and free time? Right. Mrs. Vickerman gave me a card with 4 easy steps to follow before saying or doing anything, or doing something, sorry. In our class, number 1, stop what you are doing. Number 2, think about what you are going to say or do. Number 3, decide if it will make the situation better or worse. Number 4, choose the behavior that makes the situation better. That didn't seem too hard, I told Miss Vickerman. I was sorry, and I would think before doing things from now on. Later that day in PE, we were playing a new dodgeball game. The only rules were you could not hit kids in the face and you could not go on the other team's side. My team was ahead and things were going great. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Amanda sneak over to our side and hit one of our players with the ball. Like a cheetah, I sprinted over and threw a ball right at her face. Just as the ball was about to hit her, Coach yelled out, Braden, get over here right now. I saw Amanda on the floor crying and knew this was not going to end well. Then I heard the same words again. What were you thinking? I explained how I was mad at that Amanda cheated, and that's why I hit her with the ball. Coach did not look happy and told me I needed to control my impulses. Coach asked if hitting Amanda with the ball made the situation better or worse? Worse, I replied. He pulled out the tip card from Miss Vickerman and asked if I followed any of the steps. I realized I didn't even follow step number 1. Stop what you are doing. Controlling my impulses might be harder than I thought. That day when I got home, my parents already knew about what had happened at school. Mom and Dad said we would be practicing controlling our impulses at home, and they had a copy of the card Miss Vickerman gave me. Oh, great, I sighed. With all that happened at school, I was surprised to see that Mom was making cupcakes for me. Yum! As they were cooling off on the counter, I went in like a hungry bear. I ate 12 cupcakes and then had a huge tummy ache. Mom came in looking shocked and asked, "What in the world happened to your brother's birthday cupcakes for his class?" Uh-oh, maybe those weren't for me. Braden, you know you're supposed to ask permission. And with everything that happened at school today, what were you thinking? Well, I was thinking about how good they would taste. Did eating those cupcakes make the situation better or worse? Well, they did taste good, I mumbled. I'm sure they did, but overall, did that make the situation for you, your brother, and me better or worse? Worse, I said as I lowered my head. We went over the card Miss Vickerman had given me again. On top of that, I had to help Mom make more cupcakes instead of playing my favorite video game. Not a fun night. Why were those 4 steps so hard to follow? A few days later at school, it finally clicked. I was being my usual hilarious self with my friends at lunch. We were having a great time. Then I felt something mushy and wet smack me in the head. A kid from another class threw some Jell-O at me, and his whole table was laughing. I immediately thought, oh, he just messed with the wrong person. It's time to teach him a lesson. I grabbed some of my mashed potatoes and got ready to throw a mashed potato fastball at his head. I reached my arm way back to get full speed. As my arm was about to go forward, I stopped. I got this weird picture in my head of that card. And I asked myself, is this going to make the situation better or worse? I knew the answer, and though it was hard, I decided just to raise my hand over my head to get the teacher's attention. Mrs. Vickerman came over and I explained what happened. She went and talked to the other boy, and he had to go to the principal's office to finish his lunch. Whoa! Was I just able to control my impulses? Well, this made me feel good about myself. Later in class, Miss Vickerman pulled me aside. She said, "I noticed you had mashed potatoes in your hand when you raised your hand at lunch. Something tells me you weren't planning to eat those." I smiled and said, "Yeah, I was going to hit the boy in the head with them, but decided it would be better to talk to you about it since it's one of the rules in the cafeteria." She laughed and said, "So, what were you thinking?" Stay out of trouble. I was thinking I'm sick of getting in trouble and for once wanted to make the right choice. That's great. And your good choice did make the situation better this time. You even followed the 4 steps. Yep, I said. Maybe I was becoming an impulse expert. That night when I got home, my parents asked my brother and I to pick up our toys, and he just left his remote control car, the one he never lets me play with, right in the middle of the floor. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I thought for just a second this might be a good time to take my brother's remote control car and hide it in my closet. But then again, would an impulse expert do that? I knew what the right thing to do was, so I walked into my brother's room and gave him his remote control car. My brother said, "Thanks a lot, booger brain." At first I got mad. And then I just laughed. I may be becoming an expert in controlling my impulses, but I'll never be able to control my brother. All right, you guys, today I want you to, we're all at home, and there's going to be times that we all want to make choices that are not the best. So let's see if we can make ourselves stop, think about what we're going to do, and make a better choice. Think about, is this going to make this better or worse? Have a great day.